All right, so we're here for Ron's presentation. If you're here, please reply yes. Okay, so we'll be having Ron's presentation, and it's about next level up success. So, Ron, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Felix. So first, hello everyone. Uh, the title of the third topic today is next leveling. So first question, can you hear me? Is my voice or mic clear? Okay, thanks, Brian, John, etc. Okay, so uh, I'm not that uh, I'm having some trouble uh, with some airmit functions. So I'm just doing the alt tab. So uh, please bear with me while I do the presentation. Hey guys, I am Ron, and a level 2 judge from uh, well, Manila is the capital metropolis, big region, capital region of the Philippines. So you can see my city, Quezon City there, but you can just assume that we're from Manila. I have worked on local and regional events since 2010, and for the past year, you may have also heard me present on different conferences, local or regional. I have attended several digital conferences that feature international speakers like Closest L2 conference and the one organized by Isaac. I wasn't presenting, but I attended and saw and heard what they had to say about different topics. So today's the same. I will try to hold your interest in 1 hour. So thankfully, there's a clock that's flashing in Airmeet to help me manage the time. But I try to hold your interest in a 1 hour time frame. But it will be different in a way because I will present a non-technical topic. So what do I mean by that? So aside from the rules and policy of the game, which more or less are the topics that I kind of present, uh, most of Magic Judge lore is about an individual soft skills, traits that involve personal character and how to relate to other people or how to mediate between them. Due to the nature of our work, uh, people skills are as important as our technical skills. Okay, so 2020 has been a beta test of producing live content for other judges. So most of us had our fair share of attending these digital events. So in between these digital get-togethers, a judge friend had a comment that discussing rules and policy for tabletop events has a low stock due to the current state of the world. They were more interested in fun talks or discussions that I will categorize as self help. For me, I also enjoy these offbeat topics and was reading a book during quarantine. So, as I read through its pages, so the book's title is What Got You Here Won't Get You There. There were parts of it that resonated with my magic judge self. So, I think I put two and two together. It was like a maybe additive moment. I put two and two together, and there was a timely call for presenters for today's conference. So right now, I put in my primordial soup of a topic for selection, and now it's time to make it breathe. Time to, I guess, make it alive. Okay. So uh, that was my inspiration, my vision uh, for this presentation. Next will be what I will call my mission or my presentation. So this is the book. I think this is a variant cover. You can find other covers for this, but here it is. This is what got you here won't get you there from Marshall Goldsmith. So first, I will not summarize, review, or regurgitate the whole book. Uh, One, because I don't see the point of doing that. Uh, I think there's a PDF copy floating around the internet, and maybe you can find it in a bargain bookstore. If you are interested in the book after this presentation, I think you can easily find it. And I think uh, I if I took inspiration, I think uh, I have to add something or maybe relate it in a different way to another audience. So I think regurgitating the book or doing a Cliff's Note version of it is not a good practice. So I will try to relate the content I find interesting to our magic lives. So I may have phrased or summarized or ignored parts of it to be relatable to judges. The main uh, audience of this book are like executives. So we're not exactly that, but uh, I found enough similarities between and maybe lessons for to consider this book as a source material. So I think what I want to do is relate the f- relate. I want you to experience the feeling I had when I read it. When I relate what I read in the book, the contents of the book, with our Magic Judge stuff. Next and last, I do not want to be preachy, nor I do not want nor want to be condescending. My thoughts today is expressed as neutrally as possible. I was not thinking of anyone when I did this, nor I am presenting myself as the good example for the next part of the presentation. Uh, Trivia about myself. Something I wrote was used as a bad example in an official Magic Judge post. So, uh, I'm not exactly the best, but uh, as always, we try to improve always. If you have someone in mind, good or bad, I advise it to keep it to yourself right now. But let's say I can read your mind. I wouldn't judge you if you find my content more engaging if you do this, if you think like this. Okay? Uh, a quick note about the presentation itself. I'm trying a dark theme to help soothe your eyes to the screen. I hope that it's effective uh, for today. Uh, Keith, audio problem? Is there an audio problem on my end? QJ says not really. Maybe you can try refreshing or asking help from the organizers. Uh, Again, just a thumbs up or a reaction. Can you hear me before I go with the presentation? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Oops, sorry. Next, this is about the book. So, so the book or the source material is written primarily by Marshall Goldsmith. He's an American executive leadership coach and has 29 plus years of measuring and analyzing behavior in organizations. So, if you try to condense the book, it's a collection of his methodologies and vignettes that he has collected about coaching successful people going up the organizational ladder. So most of his clientele are would be CEOs, COOs, etc. So uh, his mission most of the time is to make them better, better leaders, better co-workers. So uh, people in very high positions also need to be coached, and they they always have room for improvement. So the thesis of the book, so I'm spoiling. I'm spoiling it for you, is that the higher a person goes up the organizational ladder, their challenges are more behavioral. These are not flaws of skill, knowledge, or personality. Because if you have a competent organization and as you go up, uh, most of the time you can't go up if you can, maybe if it's a finance thing, if you can read balance sheets, if you can maybe add or analyze stuff. So we're taking that we're taking those technical skills out of the equation. So the only challenges for them to go to the next level are behavioral flaws. Uh, so often these are interpersonal weak points, usually associated with leadership. Because Marshall's job is to prime these people so that one, maybe they can be more likable by by their peers, or they can be better leaders. So let's go back to this second second part of the last slide. It is a collection of methodologies and vignettes that Marshall has collected about successful people going up the organizational ladder. So, uh, successful people going up the organizational ladder had my first, uh, I that was my first mental note. So, in this milieu, it sounds like an interested level one judge for today. So, and maybe let's not limit it to that. It can be also applied to higher judge level judges, or maybe in real life if you seek more responsibilities. So, but right now, that's the way. That's my argument for connecting this book, or the contents of this book, and what I have to say for today. So right now, I believe this: a level one judge is a successful person. So if you personally don't believe this, right now, please humor my argument. So but so if you don't believe in this, you ask me, but Ron, is it a level one judge, someone on the bottom of the organization? Let's say the judge academy, since we're under its umbrella right now. How do you say, or why do you say that they're successful? So first, I'll shift my perception to a non-judge person in the magic community. So when I see you, a level one judge, I see these four. Since you're certified and you passed the exam and all. So you have the skills and the talent to become a successful person. So you were certified and went to another level. So you are confident that you can do it. So if you if you're if you were answering table top calls, most of the wisdom that uh, your L2s and others will impart with you first is you have to be confident about your ruling. And More or less, if you're a judge, if you have been successful in magic or in magic judging, in competitive magic or in other parts of life, you are a confident person. You are also motivated to succeed because uh, I think you have put in the work to go one step up to becoming one step up to towards a level one towards becoming a level one judge. And last, you chose to succeed. So I think that uh, I think it's similar to being motivated. So if you because you have succeed because you chose to succeed, uh, it's in your head that you did because of these factors. So if to a non-judge person again in their perception, uh, you have these standard payoffs for success. The book lists this for so money, power, status, and popularity. So money, you have judge foils. So yes, I think that's and it's a good motivator for someone to be certified. People think people think you have power over them during events. You can give them game losses, etc. And you have status within the community. If you're a certified judge, even if you're level one, they know you are a judge. And last is, I think I'm giving this kind of a stretch. It's popularity. So let's say you're in a large event like MCQ nationals level or Magic Magic Fest. Most of the players they call judges. Hey judge, can you do this? Hey judge, can you sign? Can I get your autograph? Can you sign this because I I mistakenly put one instead of two, like that. So you're kind of popular. And lastly, if you do not care or you have all of these four, you still have this more or less. You have higher level goals. So maybe you're doing this be to have a better community within your store, within your city, within your uh, region, within your big region within your country. Maybe you're level one, maybe you're a judge so that you can work on customer service. You like to you're a store staff and you want to improve uh, these your service to the community. So these higher level goals are also a payoff for success. Okay, so with this thesis, okay, so I think that's the first mental note. Next is uh, about the third statement on the sauce slide. The book's thesis focuses on leadership behavior and assumes that everyone in the organization is capable once you're in it. So, again, skills, technical know-how, and personality aren't factors. So, if you're in a community, just like in Z's presentation, sorry about that. In Z's presentation, uh, if you answered correctly, it doesn't matter what your judge level is, because one, uh, you more or less you have the same skill or technical know-how in comprehensive rules. So next is more or less what we're trying to achieve or change into is someone is our leadership behaviors, small leadership behaviors. So and I think uh, most of them. that's coming up, or that I found in the book, sounds like L2 plus trait, sans rules and policy. So again, rules and policy wise, personality wise, we're all equal. So you can learn those easily, and what we'll focus on are soft skills. So think of it this way: the leaders or successful people that we admire within the judge community, they are smart, they are proficient, they're the best, they're effective leaders. So they're effective leaders, and there's something else about them. They're not just We just don't put them here in these boxes. So I think they're also good listeners. They always make you feel welcome whenever you are with them or in their event, or something else that personally resonated with you. So think of that person that's your compass for success. So I think, since your let's say your goal is to be at his level or maybe greater, uh, it's not just their technical know-how, but these soft skills too. Uh-huh. Are there any questions? Violent reactions before I continue? Okay, now that we have set the stage, I have some caveats. Oops, wait, I misclicked again. This is the right slide? Yes, I did. Yeah, now this is the right slide. Okay, these are my caveats. You want to go to the next level. So, I think there was a time when there's expectation that if you become level 1, you'll go to level 2, and then go to level 3, and then get to level 4, and then level 5. But as you belong in the judge community, for uh, a lot of time, as you foster your relationships, sometimes it doesn't become uh, that important. So your being level 1 is okay, being level 2 is okay. Uh, so, but however, within your level, you can still cultivate these behaviors, and maybe uh, try to be not much as a level X guy, but proficient level 2, really good mentor for a level 2, or someone as good as a level 2 but he's still level 1, something like that. So you want to go there, you want to go somewhere, somewhere next up. But to be there again, you have to have the appropriate skills and knowledge to be in the level where you want to go. So because as you go high to a higher level in the organization, everyone is skilled, everyone is smart, everyone has a technical know-how. So uh, this presentation is, I'm not here as your comprehensive rules coach. I'm not here as your policy coach. I'm here as to try to give out maybe Marshall's message, the author's message, that the only thing, or maybe the most important thing that you can change as you go up, is behavior. So the goal today is to look at your behavior and evaluate if it impedes you in advancing. So maybe one behavioral quirk is connected to another that's ruining your chances to be a better judge, a better employee, a better boss, or spouse. So again, you are successful, but uh, to ground you, uh, you are successful because of some things, but you have been also successful in spite of some other things. And more or less, these are behavioral challenges. So you may not have an idea how a certain behavior is coming across to others, especially to people that matter. So what are these? These are small transactional flaws performed by one person to another. These are small behavioral quirks that maybe you do not recognize, you have not been told about, or you are aware of, but you refuse to change it. So what we are listing are are these small annoyances or behavioral tics. They may sound basic if you once we go through them. And that's the bad and the good thing about them. They come up often but can be erased once we are mindful of them. So they also rarely show up in bunches. So s- I think no one would have all of these flaws in their system. Maybe just pick one and that's it. And lastly, there are easy to correct, and that's the good thing about them. Uh, I'm pausing. Are there any questions, reactions, etc.? Okay, I will continue. So, organizations mostly focus on a positive tone and a commitment to positive action. Recognition and reward systems acknowledge doing something and not stopping something. So, why focus on negative traits? So, first, they are two sides of the same coin. So, if I say that uh, you're a jerk, so I will be frank, I will say to your face, you're a jerk. So, your reaction, if you want to change, is one, you can try to be nice. So, what does trying to be nice entail? So, maybe you have to look at them in the eye, you have to greet them, you have to thank them, and do nice things. The key part is doing something. But I can you can also do is you can stop being a jerk. So if you have something bad to say, you just don't say it. So uh, that's that's one way to look at these traits. So they are two sides of the same coin, but knowing what to stop is easier to do because there is no overhaul of behavior. It takes less effort to seize a behavior rather than create new ones. But I think both paths are still like streams converging to a river for creating good habits. So if I always think before I have to say something bad and then refrain from saying it, it becomes a habit. So and then I go to that path of not becoming a jerk. So it's just the same as forcing myself to do maybe really good stuff. But the but the be stopping something, the stopping part is easier for me. I remember an article called "Fearless Magical Inventory." I think it's a popular article way back by some professional magic players, and it lists. I think, if I remember correctly, it lists their faults to be able to improve on them. I think it's the uh, same philosophy here. So what we do is we take an inventory of what may be stopping us from becoming a better person, or a better judge to someone, or a better coworker, a better leader, and uh, and improve on it. Okay. So the book lists 20 plus one habits that hold you back. I will list them all, but we don't have to discuss all of them. I just highlighted the ones that feel are relevant to magic judging. If it's in bold, I may have something to say about it. But regardless, each of us have different experiences with working with others. So I'll list them all. But will not necessarily discuss all of them. So this is there's a side here 2 out of 21. So this slide has two. So let's go to them. These two, I more or less you can brand them as the root of them all. It's winning too much and goal obsession. So I think these these two, all the others can be related to these two faults. So what are they? First is winning too much. So one, uh, we're humans, so we're selfish beings. So sometimes you have a tendency that it's all about you. Your opinion is better, or I will change tenses. My opinion is better. My side should have the advantage. Every other faction or everyone else is inferior. So winning too much is maybe comes up in small conversations. You always have to win an argument. You always have to have the last. You always have to win. Your side always has to have the advantage. So, uh, in a typical setting, during Magic Fest conversation, when we're grouped into teams, uh, hi, I came here. Hi, I'm Ron. I had a 3 hour flight here. It was kind of rocky, etc., etc. Someone else will upend you on that. He will have a 10-hour flight, and then the next person will have a 19-hour flight. That's, uh, I think that's a symptom. I don't. That's a manifestation. Yeah, that's the word. That's a manifestation of winning too much. So, and I also have is he is not a magic judge, but I think he is a perfect bad example for this. There's a person that a group of friends, they called him the X+1 guy. So whenever they have banter, he always he always has something plus one. So let's say I drank 2 milk tea in Taiwan today. So it was very good, but my tummy feels achy. Hey, I drank three tonight, just tonight, and my tummy is worse than you. That's the X+1 guy. So you don't want to be that guy because that's a clear manifestation of winning too much. So winning too much is not about being competitive. It's about uh, it's about so in this when the issue is trivial, not worth our time and energy, we want to win. Even when the issue is clearly our advantage, we want to win. So we place this competitiveness uh, on trivial things when we could just reserve our energy for other stuff that do matter. So that's winning too much. Next is goal obsession, which bookends all of these flaws. So goal obsession by itself is not a flaw because that's what we're here, right? Uh, I have a goal. I want to go to the next level. So what's with that? But if we get so wrapped up in achieving our goal and we do it at the expense of others, maybe where we have ignored time with our family uh, because we played magic, or we have too many flights and we're ignoring our health. That's goal obsession. So the thing with this on how to maybe uh, have a first step is to step back, breathe, and look. Evaluate what is making you obsessed with the wrong goals. Next is succumbing to emotion. So these four habits, there's 4 of 21. Uh, you can place it in succumbing to emotion. Personally, nothing is in bold here. Why? Because I haven't seen this in I haven't encountered this in a magic judge setting. Maybe that our emotional quotients are high, or we're just too logical of a group. So they're speaking when angry, clinging to the past, playing favorites, and punishing the messenger. Uh, Personally, I haven't seen these manifest, or I can't give proper examples from what I remember. So next, five. Five flaws contained in here. Okay, so I have grouped this in withholding information. So first, I want to discuss the bottom four because like the last slide, like sa coming to emotion, I haven't seen this anywhere. I haven't encountered this in a magic judge setting. Failing to give proper recognition, we had the exemplar program a couple of years ago. So, and it's all about this. So, I think if you are in this organization, most of these four, I wouldn't expect you to have these. But nine, what is withholding information? So, withholding information has two types. So first is the intentional. This is the more insidious part of withholding information. It is you purposely withhold information to get a leg up from the competition. So we're not focusing on that because what we have, I think, what the common flaws that all of us have is an unintentional or accidental uh, withholding of information. This is it's we're too busy to get back to someone. We delegate a task to someone but don't take the time to show them exactly how we want it done. So accidentally, we are withholding information. So it's not. It's like what's the what's the effect on the other person? It's like you're shutting them out if you withhold information from them. And if you do this accidentally multiple times, or it's a small annoyance to you, it becomes very hard on the other for the other person. So how do we correct this? You make it a priority to share information. So uh, this is an easy way. So if you have to communicate, so and what it does, it helps make you be a better communicator. Before I go here, any questions? Can you still hear me? Have you eaten yet? Okay, thank you for the reacts. I will go. Oops, wait. Yes. Okay, from withholding too much information, we go to the other side. It's too much information. So there are six habits here. First four, I think first two. Wait, let me. Yeah, first two. Should be first two. Okay. The first two, why is it in italics? Because I'm really not sure if I can personally consider this, or you can personally consider this a flaw. What is adding too much value? So these are statements that a like someone throws an idea in a brainstorming session. You have these answers handy. We already know that. We know a better way. Back in my day, or the last one is try it this way. So you may have improved it by 5%, but the one who threw the idea, his or her commitment to that becomes less than 50 because you have taken his idea and morph it into yours. So the I think the moral is that you have to make other people winners, and you can also encourage them. Next is passing judgment. So when people throw their ideas on you, uh, do not track them. So, uh, or don't say that I expected you to say this. So, or uh, don't say that, but I heard this from others. That's passing judgment. So the next flaws are making destructive comments. These are easily in our everyday conversation. Sarcastic remarks, thoughtless jabs. Usually we don't remember them, but somehow, if the subject or object of them hears that and remembers it, uh, it the bad feeling persists with them. So how do you avoid this? You should always ask yourself, is it worth it to say this? And next two is starting with no, but, or however. So, and negativity. Let me explain why that won't work. So, what? Although you start with their idea, you're just shutting it down. So, you're closing off yourself, or you're closing off them from the session, from the group, from the idea. So how do you stop this? Again, always ask the question, is it worth it? And if it isn't, say thank you. And the last is telling the world how smart we are. So again, I since it's not in bold, I haven't seen this manifest in Magic Judges. So what's this? It's the need to demonstrate how smart we are. It rarely hits intended target. Just remember that being smart turns people on, announcing it turns people off. So about these habits. So if I just take all, do I just take all in ideas and not filter them even if they're bad? So I guess what I feel is first assumption is everyone is at the same knowledge level or better. So if someone has lower knowledge level, maybe there should not be there yet, or people had withhold information from him or her. So just expect that it's good ideas that uh, will always be thrown around during brainstorming sessions or this. And I think the most effective thing, if you're going to shut down eventually an idea, is to try to depersonalize the idea from the person. Again, if you confront the person and say, uh, let me explain why that won't work. At that moment, you are confronting him or her, not the idea. So let it simmer down, separate the idea from the person. So those six is called information compulsion. So Tom Wolfe coined this term. It's an overwhelming need to tell you something you don't know, even when it's not their best interest. This is connected to the need to win. And we're convinced that we're making people smarter or inspiring them to do better when we're likely to achieve the opposite effect. Oops, sorry. Why am I misclicking? So, how do you take all of these bad habits, these six bad habits? Always ask, is it appropriate? And how much should I convey? You can also uh, up, you can also apply this for the emotional ones if ever you get to that point. So do not speak when angry. So when I speak, just take a take a deep breath and think about, is it appropriate and how much should I convey? Okay, so last group, all about me. Uh, I to tell you the truth, I cannot. I don't know if I should share this. If I should group this under the information one or the emotion one. So first is not listening. this is this is the most blatant thing. This is the most telling thing that one, people are not worthy of your attention. They're a waste of time, etc. Okay, so how do I do this? Let's say I am just one judge at a 40-person event. It happens here in the Philippines. So I have to do deck checks, etc., etc. So if I am doing deck check, well, someone asks me about how's the time, etc., etc. Sometimes I can answer them. I zone out, or I blurt out an answer while doing something else. So I think that's a concrete example of not listening. Uh, Listening, you should try to give the time to the other person and not blatantly ignore him or her. Next is this, are these three: making excuses, passing the buck, and an excessive need to be me. So first is making excuses. So uh, I think I can relate. One of the first feedback or judge reviews that I received was about lateness, being late to an event. So the most common excuse that I have is there was traffic, the bus broke down, the train broke down, etc. But eventually, that becomes a habit. So, well, I'm working on it. So, uh, but sometimes it's not limited to that. You should all. There are just things that you can say to yourself, "I'm just no good at this." So, the thing to do is to ask why not. Uh, so yeah. Next is passing the buck. So blaming others for mistakes. Uh, I think blaming another person. I haven't seen this, or I personally I haven't done this, and I'm sorry if I did this to you. But sometimes, passing the buck also encompasses uh, being absent when conflict or problems arise, so that others will be blamed for that screw up. That's a form of passing the buck. So let's say, okay, so about me, I think I had judged some event, and then I delegated someone to be at the top eight. So, uh, but there's a cardinal sin that I did there. That one, I didn't negotiated their compensation for the top eight. Let's say because is that during that, because well it's only eight people, etc. So and I can only say that I disappeared from that issue. So that's a form of passing the buck. And I have also not just between judges but also between players. I have done this. So uh and this passing the buck, especially to a service business like us, like since we provide customer service, consumers judge us when we get it right, not when we get it right, sorry, but how the business behaves in correcting during a foul up. So uh, the thing to mend how to pass it back is to just take responsibility. So last is an excessive need to be me. Making a virtue of our flaws to form my identity. It's just me. I'm just a lazy person. I'm not good at being responsible. Uh, it's clinging to a false or pointless notion of yourself, of an image of yourself. Remember, it's not what you think about yourself, it's what other people think of you. I am Calvin and Benny are both talking about food. So yeah, it's unfortunate that I have the dinner time slot. Whew, that was a lot. So those are 21 habits. Uh, so first, this is a stop. Let's take a breather. So first thing that I can say is you don't have to tackle them all. You have to whittle them down to one or two to focus on, because I think so. Again, I will say that no one has all of these bad habits in his system. Just focus on one, just focus on two. That's fine. But we're not ready to change yet. Self reflection and diagnosis can go so far. Just as we tend to overestimate our strengths, we also overrate our weaknesses. And we may have fear of overcorrection. So I think the next question we should ask is, how do we know that what we pointed out, that the flaw, uh, is correct? So luckily, we have discussed this. It's feedback. Okay? So feedback. So I won't get into it so much because QJ had a excellent presentation about this. I just want to give, maybe there are a few alternate points. So the negatives. What's the negative parts of feedback? First, as in our Southeast Asian region, we don't want to give it. Okay, uh, maybe that's a proven negative of feedback because it may hurt the other person. And again, it focuses because one, we try to frame it that we focus on a failed past. Okay, so how do we do it to the other side, the happy side? So if you want feedback, personal feedback, you can pick your raters. Now, that one can let go of the past because, or it doesn't matter to them. That will tell you the truth and will be supportive and helpful, not cynical and negative. So, I think most of Magic Judge people, when they give reviews or feedback, uh, they're not focusing on your character, on your personality, on yourself, but on the task that was done. So, and I think that most of them are capable of this. They can let go of the past. They tell you the truth as is, and they are supportive and helpful. They're not doing this to bring you down, but rather to make you improve, to help you improve. Okay? So, and this, when you do this personally, especially personally, I think, stop asking for feedback and then expressing your own opinion. Feedback is a gift. So treat every advice as a present. So, first, how do you get this type of feedback for your personality if you do choose to start? The first is one, solicited. So, the best part of this is if it's confidential and mediated by a third party. Just what we do in these presentations. So, take this frame and that's it. Uh, I don't know one if you can do this. No one can hire an executive coach. No one can hire some. No one can hire. Maybe a few of us can hire someone to give them like a full assessment of their personality. And always frame this when you solicit feedback. It's not how you feel about me. How do you feel about me? Because it dredges up feelings of the past, etc. But how can phrase it as how can I be better? Next, you should also look for, personally, unsolicited feedback. The book calls this blindside events because there is information well known to others but not to you. It's like a psychological trick, I think. Uh, if people somehow gives this to you uh, unsolicitedly, reflect on it because it's maybe one of the best feedbacks that could be given to you. And last is observational feedback. So some of the best feedback comes from what you observe. Uh, you can listen to people's casual remarks about you, observe with judgment and purpose. and observe how people react to you with their body language. So, the author has this situation where try to be the first one to arrive in a room and observe how people react to you. This is common because there are judge rooms in magic fests. So try to be the first there. Does everyone greet you? Do they ignore you? Do they go to that do they flock around that other person? That tells a lot because as much as verbal feedback goes so far, uh, body language, these non-verbal cues are also important. And if you ever find observational feedback that is relevant to you, accept it and act on it because it is good as solicited feedback. And the last part of the book is about this, but it's how to change. So it's these basic things, but uh, again, uh, as my aim, I will like to end on feedback because that's the most relevant part for me about the book. So if you ever do start your path to going there, good luck, and uh, I hope that gave you I gave you something relevant today. Thank you.
All right. So, thank you, Ron. Any questions from the?
Yes, Chris, it's the climbers. Wait, feeling sorry. So first is text by image sources. Okay, I experienced something about the first time about during the last conference. So, you will submitted the written feedback to me confidentially, of course. No names are there, but uh, if you are confused about how to rate or give feedback to presentations, these are my guide questions. You don't have to settle on it. You can write anything you like, but uh, I'm not expecting that you do this as is because every one of us is different. But these are some guides. Felix, will you
Yes,
share the
Ron.
slides to us? Sorry. Is yeah. I will. I think I'll just share Google Slides link in the chat. Wait. I will share this to whoever has the link. Thanks again, everyone. And I have the link to the slides are there. So I have changed the privacy thing. So you should have access to it.
Okay. So, Ron, thank you again for the presentation.